I gotta be honest, when Arthur Christmas came out in November of 2011, I was really afraid that this thing was gonna be one of those Christmas movies that gets pushed off to the side. It wasn't a big hit in general in terms of, Elf, a caliber of a Home Alone, or The Grinch, or Elf, or even some of the worst Christmas movies like Christmas with the Cranks and Deck the Halls. But I am glad to see that as time has gone on since this movie has come out, in the near 15 years since this movie has been released, this thing still gets played on television every single year. And rightfully so. Like, you see it on TBS and TNT every year in November, and then it pops over on Freeform in December. It is just one of those great, great holiday movies that didn't get the proper respect it deserved back then, but I am glad to see that it still got that following even after all these years later. The premise of the movie is that you have Arthur Christmas, voiced by James McAvoy, one of the sons of Santa Claus, voiced by Jim Broadbent. The other is Steve, voiced by Hugh Laurie, who makes sure everything runs smoothly on Christmas Eve, but when a child's present is accidentally left out, and there's only a few hours before sunrise, Arthur and Grand Santa, voiced by Bill Nighy, travel to bring the present to the child before the sun rises on Christmas Day. And Aardman at this point had been pretty solid. They of course gave us Wallace and Gromit and Chicken Run, and even their worst movie, Flushed Away, was not that great, but it wasn't a bad movie either. It was just... It just felt kind of weird of them doing the claymation thing in CG, and it just didn't work in that movie to me. But in this movie, you could definitely tell this movie worked a whole lot better in terms of CG in general for Aardman Animation. This may honestly be their best movie to date. I mean, this is a movie that just works on so many levels because it's so unlike all these family films that we get today. There's no fart jokes, there's no toilet humor, there's no like pointless pop culture references. The ones they make it here, I mean, very few of them, but they do make sense to the story. There are puns that are pop culture relevant that make a whole lot of sense. It could honestly be a timeless Christmas movie. Like, it could take place in any decade, any time period whatsoever. Even with the fancy technology they have in here, you can make the argument that this is something where this could honestly be a timeless story, no matter how you put it together. The voice cast overall is great. James McAvoy, I think, is really good as Arthur, very funny, and you do feel sympathetic to his plight. He's trying to do the right thing and making sure that a kid gets a present on Christmas, and you have everybody else around him telling him, it's just one kid, what's the big deal? And, everybody else is great in here. Bill Nighy's great as Grand Santa. He's got all these great one-liners here and there. Hugh Laurie and Jim Broadbent are great. Ashley Jensen, who plays this rapping elf, who literally is around to rap everything around her. Not just presents, but just things in general. Like, when they have to sneak into houses, she'll wrap up the alarm so it doesn't make any noises and all that. I mean, just great stuff there. Really funny stuff in general. Imelda Staunton playing Mrs. Claus kind of gets overlooked in terms of the performances in this, but she's finally here. You also have Laura Linney as the North Pole Computer, and Ava Longoria, who plays like this head of this organization that's trying to stop this thing from ruining Christmas. It's called the United Northern Federal International Treaty Alliance. And just by looking at this her right now, I got this. It's like, I didn't realize until now, but it's just like she literally looks like the aunt from Elio. Take a look here. See do you think I'm overstating seeing this a little bit here? They look kind of similar. I don't know. That's just a thought I had when I watched it, because I just watched Elio again not too long ago, and yeah, I saw that in this. It's just like, well, these two look very similar to one another. I gotta be honest with you, but what I like about this movie is that it doesn't have an essential villain. I mean, Hugh Laurie's Steve comes off as kind of a douche in particular. Like, the whole thing is that he thinks that he thinks that after this Christmas Eve in particular, he's gonna be named the new Santa Claus, but Santa just says, I'm gonna go ahead and keep doing this for the time being, and it really upsets Steve. And even when Steve doesn't want to help Arthur in this, like, he's doing it because he's basically doing it simply because of selfish reasons, but not to the point where he's a straight-up bad guy. There are no villains in this movie. And this is around a time when, we weren't getting this. The whole idea is that you had to have a villain here, and this is a movie that I'm glad to see doesn't go down that route in particular. And the story is nothing special overall, but it's done very well. Where it's a simple story, but it works because of it. The timing is nicely done. They do a good job of padding the story out where you don't feel like you've been there for a long time. Probably the best thing about the movie in particular is that it isn't centering on the commercialism of Christmas. It's focusing on this family of Santas and the way it's done. and how they do the Christmas things. Like you have Santa who does the normal routine. You have Steve who wants to be the new Santa. You have Grand Santa who wants to get that magic again and is not really technologically advanced, and so that's why he brings out these old reindeer that he used to ride with back in the day. And then you have Arthur, who just wants to do the right thing and make sure this kid gets the gift that she respectively earns and deserves. And you know, like I said, there's a breaking point with him where you feel the pressure that he's under because he feels like that nobody cares about this except for him, and the one person that he thinks that will believe in him doesn't want to do that part. And it's just like you get behind this character and what he's trying to do here, and that's the great thing about this movie is the focusing of the family. This is what most families would be like when they get together. They're not going to agree with each other all the time, but in the end, they really do come together because that's the true meaning of Christmas. It's about family. It's about being there with people you love and supporting what they've done. That's why that ending is so well done. Like, they finally get to this kid's house, and they're all there getting ready to be like, fighting over who's going to give him the present. And Arthur's just like, it doesn't matter who gives it to her. It just has to come from Santa. And so he gives it to Santa, and then Santa's just like, Arthur, you do it. And they all try to go away, but then they go and watch the kid open the present, and they're very happy to see it. And the whole thing, they have the whole thing where it just comes to the obvious conclusion that Arthur is more ready to be Santa than anybody else is, and people are just willing to accept that. And I like that. I like the fact that they go down that route here. It would have been so easy to pull a Christmas with the Cranks or Deck the Halls, where they tack on this supposedly beautiful, emotional message about family and all that, when it really is nothing like that whatsoever. This is a movie that doesn't do any of that at all. Now, if there's one thing that I would say is a negative towards the film, it's not even with the film itself. It's the fact that when I saw this movie, they had the music video for Justin Bieber's Santa Claus is Coming to Town. That part is like the pre-show thing. No, they showed it after the trailers, like this is supposed to be like a short film. And not to say that that's a bad song or anything, but it just feels really odd to have that there. I mean, why have the music video at the beginning for when it's playing in the film? I mean, imagine if you had just walked into the Muppets movie that came out the same day, and the music video for the opening song, Life's a Happy Song, starts playing. Like, as a short or something. It's like, it makes no sense whatsoever. It was such a strange move on the part of Columbia Pictures for doing that, but other than that, though, this movie is absolutely fantastic. Arthur Christmas is such a perfect family film. It's not like any of these lousy family films we get that focuses on just using toilet humor, fart jokes, pop culture references for the sake of using them. It's a family film that's something on the same level as something we got back in the old days, the 80s and 90s, and just something that just something that makes this movie so incredible and so special. It's just like, this is definitely a terrific, terrific film. This is one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. I love it that much. It's one that anytime it's on television, it's always on during the holiday season, and I love every minute of it. Arthur Christmas, can't go wrong. Classic, classic Christmas film.